Hi, everybody. I want to welcome you to today's session. We're going to go over some information about the National Business Honor Society. You can feel free to, you can unmute your cameras if you want. It's always nice to see faces. At some point, though, here in just a few minutes, I'm going to be sharing my screen. So we'll have that up. I'm not sure what everybody will view after I do that. So let me go ahead and share. Okay. Again, like I said, I want to welcome you. Thank you all for coming. It looks like we have a really good group today. Joe said to tell you all hi, and that he's glad that we have such a good turnout. Mm-hmm. And let me introduce myself really quickly. My name is Becca Chowning, and I work at Nbea, the National Business Education Association, and I work very closely with the National Business Honor Society. And I will be kind of your point of contact if you are going through the application process. So a lot of your questions will filter at least through me first. And if I can't answer them, I'll pass them on. I'd also like to introduce Gleneth Monkus. Gleneth is currently teaching career preparedness and accounting in the Business and Entrepreneurship Academy at Hoover High School. She is a national board certified teacher and holds an educational specialist degree. Gleneth has also served as a governing council member for the National Business Honor Society for many years, and now she is the council chairperson. And she is on the call today. She's going to be answering a lot of your questions.
Yep. Thank you, Becca.
I'm sure most of you saw the objectives to this training. I know many of you, hopefully all of you, received the email that went out earlier today about this session. So of course, we're going to go over the application process. We'll discuss some of the requirements. We'll take a look at the benefits and some of the resources that are available to the chapters. And of course, we're going to have time to answer your questions. And you can feel free to raise your hand or ask questions in chat. Now, while I'm sharing my screen, I'm limited on the number of things I can see. So hopefully we'll get to those too. Mm-hmm. And the first thing I really want to show you is, or really invite you to check out the resources that we provide on the NBHS page of our website at Nbea. And I do have that website there at the top of your screen. So we have provided a lot of links there to help make the application process as easy as possible. If you scroll down on that page, I have just a little excerpt here that has some of the main information that you'll want to access when you get started on your application. You'll find the startup kit, which is a really great tool that's created to help break down the requirements involved with having an NBHS chapter. You'll also find a link to the chapter bylaws document. So that's just kind of a template, as well as the application itself. And I know some of you were on the call just a few minutes before we got started when Gleneth and I were talking about the deadline. So we do have a deadline coming up quickly. So applications are considered twice a year. You can submit your application at any time. They'll just be reviewed once in the spring and once in the fall. Our next deadline that's coming up for spring is February 1st. So you'll want to make sure that you get your application in by February 1. And then if you do miss the deadline for that one, it would just be moved forward and we'll do for October. So the next deadline would then be October.
Hello. Hello.
some of the chapter requirements, and I'm just going to kind of talk about this for just a second, then I'm going to have Glenneth kind of reiterate and go a little deeper into it. So one of the things that I pointed out on our website is there is a guideline to writing your chapter bylaws. So there's a template and you can use this to get started. And it is provided on that link and it's at the top of the page here as well. Glenneth, do you want to talk anything about the bylaws and the chapter board, some of those requirements?
Yeah. So hello again, everyone. I'm Glenneth Monquez. So this year I've been helping with Nbhs for the longest time. And they've initially they asked me to just serve in the governing council. So that what the council does is we really are the one who review the applications that comes in to Nbea. And we look at several documents. We look mostly for neatness and then completion of the application. So we look at the application form, which, and again, all of this are in that kit. And then we also look at the bylaws, and then we look at the list of courses. So those are the three things that you will submit to Nbea. The application form, the bylaws, and then a list of courses that is taught in your school. And Nbhs is by school chapter. So we do not award, I guess, a charter for the entire district. So it has to be by school. So the most part that we look at is we look at the teachers listed in the application, making sure that everybody that's in that application are really the business teachers in the school. And then we would look at the bylaws, and what we really just expect from the bylaws is to just, the bylaws should just be, I guess, a copy of the template. We've made it easy that you don't have to come up with your own wordings. You don't have to come up with your own policies and procedures. They're all in the bylaws already. And the most common mistakes I think that we get is that if a student prepared the bylaws or completed the template, they forget to take off the footnotes and the instructions. So we want a neat and clean bylaws. And then we also look at the list of courses. So if we are looking at the school and it says that they have 6 teachers, then we also want to see that the courses do the number of courses that the school offer. It's, I guess, proportionate to the number of teachers that is in that school. And one of the questions that I get about courses is, what if we teach a course for a semester? Is that considered a course? For us is as long as a student receive 1 credit for that course, whether you teach that as a semester course, a whole year course, that's what we consider as a course. So let's see. Another thing that we look at in the application is the number of teachers. I know in some schools, some teachers are not full-time business teachers. They might be a math teacher and they just have to maybe pick up another business course just to fill up their schedule. And that also happens in many schools. So we just really look at, if you're designated as a business teacher, you will be counted as a business teacher for that school. So if you're a math teacher teaching a business class, just maybe 1 or 2, then they're still a math teacher, not a business teacher. So anyways, I'm getting ahead. That's probably some of the questions later. So.
Okay. What about the chapter board, Glenneth? Is there?
Yeah. Oh, the chapter board. That is. So when you on the bylaws, one of the things that you'll have to choose are board members for your chapter, and we want to make sure that those are listed just in generic title. We don't need specific names. That way, you don't have to keep revising your bylaws. So, if that board member is not a member anymore, then you don't have to change your bylaws again. So we just want to be sure that those are just, as long as they're not students, so they could be one of your advisory board member, a counselor, a principal, or an administrator, and of course your teachers in your department can also be a board member for the chapter. So.
And all of that is also it's all listed out in the starter kit. So.
Are there a specific number of board members that we're supposed to have?
No. So usually at least one teacher, an administrator, a counselor. So yeah.
Okay, one question that I see a lot here, so I work a lot with the administrative end of Nbhs. When your applications are received, that comes to me and I get it uploaded for the council to take a look at. But I also deal with processing all any fees that come through. So I know that there's seems to be some confusion sometimes with the fees and how that is laid out. So when you do your first initial application, there's two things that you need to provide, and one of them is the chapter fee. The initial chapter fee is $200, and that needs to be paid when you submit your application. I do realize that sometimes school districts and the process that you have to go through to get your payment to us can be a little lengthy, but as long as you stay in good communication, and I know that it's on the way, and so I can definitely work with you on that. And another thing is a requirement is that all of your business teachers are members of Nbea. So they need to maintain an active continuous membership. So the lowest membership level, the basic membership level is the bronze level, and that is $149 per teacher. So those would need to all be paid at the time of your application. And then the next thing is your annual renewal fees. And this is a little bit different. So your first chapter fee is $200. You will only pay that one time. After that, your renewal will drop annually down to $100. The chapter renewals are due every year on October 1st. So that just goes like clockwork. This also applies if you are approved as a chapter, say in the spring session in March. Say you are approved on March 15th. That following October, your dues are due again. So you will pay the $200 to get started, and then come October 1, you're just going to join right into that cycle. And then your teacher dues are the only thing that is a little bit different here is your teacher dues, they're not going to change in the price. They stay $149. However, if a teacher joins in June, they're due again the following June. So they don't always match up. Sometimes you'll have a teacher leave and come in, a new one come in, and so they'll join the association. And so sometimes those dates, they kind of stray away from each other, but that's not a problem, especially if your school is paying your chapter dues and is paying your teacher membership dues. They can still pay those all at once if they want. It will just move the teacher's renewal date forward by a year. So if they pay in, say, October, they're actually not due until December, then it'll just move their expiration date forward. And I feel like there was one more thing I wanted to touch on with this, and I don't remember what it was.
Yeah. So if a chapter does not renew, then they will have to. We usually, especially with the COVID years, the past year or two, we've been gracious. We've reached out to those chapters that they did not renew. So that means they are not active chapters anymore. So we reach out to them instead of starting and applying all over again. We just reach out to them and ask them to just renew without doing that. So usually, one of the things that the governing council will discuss is once a chapter has not renewed for a year or two, then we will assume that they do not want to continue their charter. So yeah, and I wanted to mention too, I'm a high school teacher, and here at Hoover High School, Nbea, sorry. Oh yeah, so Nbhs, they get to wear their cords at graduations. So very, very limited amount of cords that they get to wear. And Nbhs is one of those approved honor cords that they get to wear at graduation. So having a charter, I know it sounds like a lot of cost, It's like $200, $100, and then getting all of your teachers to join Nbea since it's an affiliation. That's to us here at Hoover High School. That's what we tell each other and my colleagues when I'm encouraging them to join Nbea. I tell them that, look, this is for the students. This benefit our students. This is a great way to bring recognition to our students, and also a great way to bring recognition to our program, that we have an honor society that is affiliated with the premier business education association in the world, which is Nbea. So that helps with that part. But anyway, so our students get to wear their honor cords at graduation, and they also get to wear their pins. And just as a reminder, I guess, the criteria for Nbhs is just a 3.0 overall GPA, 3.5 business GPA, three courses, or if they're a senior enrolled in their third class, a business class. And that's really it. We do not require them to, complete community service, although that is part of the chapter, but those are just the basic requirements for being inducted into the Honor Society. So it is a great opportunity to promote your program in the community. So when we do our induction ceremony, we invite parents. We do, after the ceremony, we take good pictures, and then we send that out to our publicity in our district, and we also send it out to our local newspapers. So that is another way to tell the world that, hey, this is what we're doing in the business academy, in the business education department of our school. So yeah, it's I'm glad that you all are interested in getting one started, and hopefully we'll be able to answer everybody's questions today. So.
One more thing that is, I wanted to point out, a lot of people, I think some of you may already have NBHS chapters. I'm not sure if anyone's already an NBHS chapter, or if you're all just getting started in the application process. But we have some resources once you do become an approved chapter. So once you do receive that approval, you will have access to our member side of the website, and you can access the NBHS group. From there, that's where you'll be able to access, we have the cords and the insignia that Glenn just mentioned for graduation. You can order through there. Also, your students, and it depends on how you decide to present the certificates, but your students can receive certificates for being members with NBHS. And you'll simply go find the form on this page, and you'll just submit that, and we will send your certificates to you. So you'll just need to make sure that you submit that as early as possible, really. One thing I've noticed is the mail seems to be slower than in the past. So it does take some time sometimes to get those out to you. So definitely do that early on. But something else I really
to request it at least a month before your induction ceremony. Just
yes.
In there.
And also, some of these forms, I think some have gotten into the habit of just downloading the form and keeping it on their desktop or saved on their computer. And I actually recommend that you access the form, a new form every year, just directly from this website, because that is going to, if the contact information changes, it's not going to get lost. Forms obviously will update from time to time. And so by accessing it directly from the website, that's going to ensure that you have the most up-to-date information. I know there were some changes to the forms and changes in the contacts just in the last few years. And, we're still dealing with a few requests that get lost because they maybe were sent to the wrong email address, or, they're mailing things to the wrong address. So that seems to happen sometimes. So definitely accessing it directly through this site is it's the best way to do it, just because you can make sure that you have the most up-to-date information. I'm going to copy and paste this contact information into the chat here in just a minute. But we can open up for Q&A right now. If any of you have any questions or anything you want any clarification on, but I'll copy and paste this phone number and email address so that you guys can copy and paste that into your.
And I've also went ahead and put in my email address. That's the email address that I have from work, and that's the one that I check on a regular basis. So if during the work hours, I usually check my personal email a little later in the day. So if y'all have any specific questions for me, I'd be happy to answer that. So.
Looks like we have some questions on the chat. Alex asked if we would be sharing the slides and the recording. So that is one thing that I have actually received quite a few questions on that. Yes, we're actually recording this and we will have it posted on the website. The slides, I can share those as well. I can definitely send those out. That would be simple enough. Vincent asked, do my chapter board members have to be members of the Nbea?
No, they don't have to be. So they're just members of your school and of your community. So they do not have to be members of Nbea. Just all of the business teachers in your school. Anybody that's designated as a business teacher in your school. Okay, cool. So what activities service will be doing during the Honor Society? This is from, let's see. Oh, lots of questions. So let me answer that one first. So what activities or services we'll be doing? It's really up to you and your officers. Here at Hoover High School, we've had Nbhs for a while, and most of our members are also members of DECA and also of the Business Academy. So sometimes we just gonna do combined joint forces. We've taken them on a field trip to the Tennessee Titans, learning about the different careers and opportunities in NFL, sports and entertainment marketing. We've done service group. We've done so you run it just like any organization. Your officers can decide on how they do that. But the biggest thing that we do first is we want to make a big induction ceremony, as big as we can afford or as big as we can organize. Even with COVID and the pandemic, we were shut down. We did a virtual one. So we just had the students and the parents joined us virtually, and we still made it. We still made it into something huge, because that's when you get everybody excited about it. So, yeah. So there are some schools, and I could give you those information, like Denise Parr. There, her chapter is very active, and they do a lot of different activities. So let's see. Yes, do most chapters collect dues from their members? Yes, not to exceed $20. So you can collect or not collect. But if you are going to collect dues, and that's going to be listed in your bylaws, you as an advisor will decide that. Or if you have students already that is interested in starting a chapter and they want to start this with your guidance, yeah, $20 is the maximum amount that we put in our policies and procedures. So that's what we collect. So here at Hoover High School, we collect $20. And then how much do the cords and pin cost? Cords is 12, or is it 8? Hold on, sorry.
I can check that for you, Glenna.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say I order this all the time and then I forget. So what we do with the dues, pretty much is just cover their cords and their pins. And then we may have enough money just to kind of buy their cake and punch for the induction ceremony. And then all of the other activities that we do as a charter, they'll have to raise funds, or we'll try to do something that doesn't require a lot of cost. Can the business teacher be on the board? Yes. Yes, so one of your teachers can be on the charter board. And again, we don't need specific names. We just need you to list their titles. Like your chapter board will be composed of an administrator, a business teacher, a community member, So those are just, and on the application, we'll have suggestions on who could be your chapter boards. And we do not require an amount, a number of board members. And let's see.
It looks like cords are around $13. Pins are $6.
Okay.
We also have keychains and the certificate jackets if you opted to do that. The keychains are $8, and then the certificate jackets they're a nice kind of a leather, I believe, foil stamped thing, but they're $43 each.
Yeah. Okay. Becca, there was a question in there about if they are approved in March, do they have to pay the renewal again in October? And that is, yes, that's correct.
Yes,
So,
and actually, I'm really glad that you answered or asked that question. It reminds me of what I meant to mention earlier. So the $200, the initial fee, if your chapter or if your school for whatever reason is not approved, that $200 is refunded back to your school.
yes. And we, as a governing council, we try to approve everybody. We'll reach out to you if we're just missing a few things, verify the number of teachers, or if the bylaws just needs some corrections or some formatting issues, we'll reach out to you before we do that. But usually when we deny is when we just don't hear a reply back from the advisor or from the person who filed the application. Okay, can we edit the bylaws? Yes, you can edit the bylaws. So for example, we've already approved you as a chapter, and then you had to make edit to your bylaws. I think that's yes. Yes, you can edit your bylaws. The quick answer to that is when you edit your bylaws, you send a copy to Nbea or to me so that we can just double check, make sure that it still follows the Nbhs bylaws or policies and procedure. And then the next question is from Kevin, for example, allow freshmen and sophomores into the Honor Society. You can really, the problem with that is the Honor Society requires for students to have completed 3 business courses or is enrolled in their 3rd business class. So for freshmen, that would be pretty difficult, right? If this is their first year in high school, you know, how can they be enrolled in their 3rd business class? They should have completed at least 2 and be enrolled in their 3rd business class. So most of the time, this will be juniors and seniors that we are going to be inducting into the Honor Society because of that. So that is why on the bylaws, it says juniors and seniors, because for 9th and 10th graders, that would be a little bit of a stretch for them to do that. So, so that's, I guess, the answer to that question. Okay, Mark, new teacher at Lena High School. And be sure, guys, if I skipped anybody from the top, just point it out. Co-advisor, DECA, okay, and Nbhs. Teacher replaced and she is no longer. Yeah, Mark, I definitely could talk to you a separate meeting if you want to. That'd be great, just to kind of get you to speed. If you have any specific question, that would be good. Sorry, I have such a horrible eyesight. So I was like just looking at the screen. Okay, if we submit an application and we need to make changes, we usually try to expedite that. So usually for the February applications, we'll usually review that and in about 3 to 4 weeks, and then we'll send out email notification ASAP. And then while we're reviewing, I might go ahead and reach out to that person, especially for the spring one. We try to hurry that up, and also because we get very busy with Nbea convention in April, and also because we want to be sure that your chapter is approved, so that if you are going to be inducting seniors, we get them inducted before they leave the school. So yeah, not necessarily going to be delayed, especially if you reply to my email as quickly as possible. We'll get that taken care of. We try to get it settled before, so that you don't have to reapply for the next application cycle. So yes, BA Wilkerson, yes, we get that question all the time. And my official answer is that all business teachers, everybody that is designated as a business teacher in your school, has to be members of Nbea in order for the charter to be approved. So we've had a lot of schools that their charter, or they cannot start a charter. And I have friends, teacher friends here in Alabama, cannot start a charter because the other three will not join Nbea. And this is kind of like where your, I guess, personal relationship with those teachers would come into play. Just make them understand why we're trying to start one. And then here at Hoover High School, it took us a couple of years before our schools finally started paying for it. But for the longest time, it kind of came out of our own pockets. So we cannot force them to pay their Nbea dues if they don't see the need for it, or if they don't see the need for it for the students. But also at the same time, Nbhs cannot change that rule or policy, because then where do we start? Where do we stop? Eventually, if we waive that rule, then it's going to be, case to case basis. So yeah, everybody has to be members of Nbea. Always just tell them too that if I expect my students to be members of DECA, FBLA, or professional organizations, then they need to set an example too. As advisors, they need to be members of professional organizations. And I know $149 is pretty steep, but if they're willing to make that sacrifice, they could probably make it happen. I jokingly tell my kids, like, I don't give you candies, or, I don't have a really nice bulletin board because I use my extra spending money. I pay for my Nbea dues so I can have Nbhs with y'all. So and some schools, they do fundraisers. That's another one, or they do a grant with maybe a PTSO. So there are other ways to kind of raise those funds if the teacher themselves are not willing to pay and use their personal funds to pay for their Nbea dues. That the question about, can someone who hasn't enrolled in a 3 business course become a board member when the chapter is established? The Nbhs board cannot be a student. So this is the board for your Nbhs chapter. They're just kind of like your advisors, kind of like we have advisory boards for our programs. So that's what their roles are. So they just help kind of run your chapter. So it cannot be a student. Did I understand that question correctly? The one from Abith Vilmore. Anyways, okay, another question is, can the entire board be all business teachers? We do not recommend that. We want to have different, I guess, different positions. And so your advisory board guys for your Nbhs, they really will not have a lot of work done. Like here at Hoover High School, we don't really require, we don't require them to do much for us. We usually just ask them for suggestions, what can we do? So yeah, we will probably point that out on the application. If it's all just business teachers, we'll tell you to modify your bylaws and add other people in there with different designations. Sorry, Kevin, you cannot. So if you're in your bylaws, that's stated that they must have completed 2 business courses or be enrolled in their 3rd business class. So we cannot reduce the number of classes. Actually, there was one teacher that said we need to increase the number of classes. It's like, well, that would be difficult too. So yeah, 3 is the magic one. So they could have completed 1, completed 2, and then be enrolled in a 3rd one. And that's for us, that's usually when with seniors, that's usually the case. So because we want them to be inducted into Honor Society before they graduate, then we will let them be enrolled. The downside with just having completed 2 business classes is if their GPA wasn't very good, then they may still not make it. So 3.0 overall GPA, and then 3.5 in their business courses. From C. Brown, do we ever submit student names that are a part of NBHS? Is that just, I guess, if you have to ask for certificate, we have to submit the names, but I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah. Actually, let me elaborate on that just a little bit. Something else that's actually really new to the NBHS program is when you submit your request for certificates, we also have begun doing digital badges as well. So you will be able to present them with their certificate, but something else that's just a little bit extra, and a lot of students are going to take that certificate home and it's going to stay in a folder. But with the digital age, we started doing digital badges, and the students can post that on their social media. They can post it on LinkedIn, that kind of thing. So that's just one way to kind of showcase that they are an NBHS member. So in that particular case, when you submit your student names for the certificates, you will also need to provide email addresses only if you want them to get the digital badges. So obviously that's not required. I know in some schools that's a privacy thing, and we completely understand and respect that. But in the case of the digital badges, the email addresses are never used for anything else other than sending that badge. We will not contact students. It's just, that's how the digital badges are delivered, is they will receive them in their email.
So yes, you can still open a charter even if you're just one business teacher. Actually, that's the easiest one, because you're convinced. So you join Nbea, you do your application form. So yes, there's no minimum requirement for the number of teachers to start a charter with NBHS. And then for the officers for NBHS, your NBHS officers should be your NBHS inductees. They should have qualified for NBHS to be officers. So, and again, you will decide if they have completed, you will check if they've completed 2 business courses or enrolled in their 3rd business class. So that qualifies them to be inducted in the Honor Society, and also 3.0 overall GPA and then 3.5 GPA. And you as the advisor will do that checking. We will not, check that for you. So we trust you that you have looked at the requirements for those for the kids. Okay. Good question from Isalino. In addition to the 3 business courses and GPA requirements for students members, can a chapter add requirements such as a participation in either DECA or FBLA? The answer is no. If we see that in your bylaws when you apply, we will reach out to you to take that out, or we will deny your application. Those are the 3 minimum requirements for NBHS. Three business courses, 3.0 and 3.5. We are not affiliated with DECA or FBLA, so we do not want to add that to the requirements. We also understand that DECA and FBLA are another membership dues that they need to apply for. So we do not want to do that. So that's on the policies and procedures for NBHS. But then again, yeah, we encourage, like my kids are both NBHS, they're DECA members as well. So we encourage them to do both, but it's not a requirement to be NBHS member. Okay, how does NBHS check their GPA requirements and courses? I think I've answered that already. We don't, as a governing council, as Nbea, we don't check that. You as the advisor of an approved chapter will do that, and we'll check. It's one of the things that we do here in my school as a department of of 6 people. We sit together for a few minutes and we check everybody's GPA. I have about 60 usually students that we have to check. So we request the transcript from our counselors or from our registrar around the summertime. And then in August, we check and see who's qualified. And then sometime in September or early October, as soon as the budgets are open, I will do a purchase order and send in our $100 renewal fees to Nbea with Becca. And then we do all of that so early. So we try to induct our members early in the school year so that we have time to do service projects and any other activities that we want the kids to be involved in. And also so that they can put that in their college application before the December or January deadline. So great questions, y'all. Thank you. Okay, so application process. So what you want to do is go ahead and go to the nbea.org/NBHS website, and you want to download the kit. It's Word document, so you can edit it, or you can save it as a PDF and do a PDF reader. And then after that, complete your bylaws, complete the application form, and the bylaws, again, already done. You just have to fill in the blanks, like with the names of the charter, how much are you going to pay, and then the board members and all of that. So it should not take a lot of time. And then you will do a purchase order or purchase request from your school, whatever funds you're going to use to pay for the $200 charter fee or beginning of a charter fee. And then all of that is going to be sent to Becca, and then Becca will put that all in a file. And then after February 1st, the governing council, there are 6 of us, we will sit down virtually and we will review the applications. And ideally, you should hear from us around March, definitely before Nbea convention. So, and that will give you April and May to set up your induction ceremony so that the seniors, or at least get everybody inducted before the school year is over, or you can wait until the following year. So, but we usually encourage you, if you have seniors that are going to qualify for NBHS, you want to go ahead and do that soon. Application process for students. Yes. There is a Cindy Dirk prepared this nice application. Sorry, that's our bell. Our last class is over. So yeah, Cindy Durkee, there's a form that you can download from the Nbea website. Once your charter is approved, you'll have access to all of that. But with us, what I do with at Hoover High School, because we have like 3,000 kids, we put it out in the e-news. We tell them that if this is if you have 3.0, 3.5, and 3 business courses, complete this form. And then what we do is we pull out those transcripts of those students who's applied, and we review it, and then we send out a letter notifying our students that they've qualified to be inducted into the National Busines Honor Society. We tell them how much dues. And it's a letter. And again, if you email me, I'd be happy to share those files that we use with you. So you can make it like an app, like a very detailed application process, or you can just do an all call and you, as the advisor, check their transcripts, because that's where you'll see that they have 3.0 and 3.5 GPA, and then highlight how many business courses they've taken.
Really quick, I went ahead and pulled up the sample of the application that we have provided for you. So this is, when you pull it up, this is a pretty extensive application here. So it's just a guideline, just something that you can use as a template if you would like. So you have a few things to take into consideration here. But again, this is in the resources, so you'll have access once you become approved, and you can access that through the group.
So I would really encourage everybody to just go ahead and get that application process started. And if you don't get it in for February 1st, and at least you sort of have that sometime ready for the October one, or you can go ahead and submit it and we'll review it in October. So at least just gonna get started. And from there, we can start that conversation, because we won't be able to help you if we don't know you're applying. And so, and just start, I guess, talk with everybody in your school. Sometimes a meeting might help, a face-to-face meeting, everybody in your department, and see if they have to believe in Nbhs, something that is important for your department and for the kids, because it does have that personal money that's involved, that they have to join Nbea, because not all schools pay for it. So. Okay, I think, did I answer all the questions? Yeah, this is good. Yeah, I think Becca and I were just planning for a 30-minute session, and lots of good questions.
Okay, well, then, if no one else has any questions, then I want to thank you all for coming and taking part in this. As I said, this it has been recorded, so we will be posting the video shortly. And but we had
Lisa, for those schools that has a charter, no, I don't even get paid stipend for DECA, and DECA is yeah, so no stipend for Nbhs, or unfortunately. Yeah, like today I have a meeting at 6 o'clock for DECA, and sometimes weekend. So we do this because we love our kids and we love what we do. But my involvement with Nbea and Nbhs, that do that networking, getting to meet you all, seeing all the different business teachers, getting to travel and attend conferences, that's my reward, because that really just energizes me, because it's nice to meet people with like-minded and have the same passion and concerns for our students. So yeah.
And Mark, I'm gonna post Gleneth's email address one more time so that you'll have that to make arrangements for that meeting. Yeah. So it's there for you. Okay, if that wraps up all of our questions, then I think we're gonna wrap this up. And so thank you all for attending, and hopefully we'll start seeing some of those applications coming through. Of course, if you have any questions, Gleneth, her email address is on there. You can also you can also receive help at nbhs@nbea.org. So I'm going to add that here as well.
And yeah, and I'm serious. I'll be happy to help you complete those application form. The packet, they're not, it just looks like a lot, but they're not very, very long. So. Thank you all so much, and you all have a good afternoon.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Glenna.
Thank you.
Bye, Lisa.
Hey.